everybody. It's Elizabeth from Alpus Astrology at alpusastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today, this is my take on September 2022 astrology. And as per usual, I'm just giving you my take on what I see. It's up to you to do what you want with the aspects in your chart and how it's affected you. So, when we look at September, I thought it was really interesting that by mid-month, literally, we will have all the outer planets will be retrograde and all the interpersonal planets will be direct. And for me, this said that the latter half of September is probably going to be a big time period where people make a lot of decisions and movement forward with regards to what anything to do with Venus and communications. Venus in particular, so we're talking about relationships. It could be friendships too, love relationships, but also money, right? Venus is also money, and we also have our values, that type of thing. So look to mid-month for those folks that maybe do need to or want to make decisions to maybe get a more easily established change forward. So when we look, first of all, at the 4th of September this year, we are looking at Venus going direct. And Venus goes direct at 12 degrees of Leo. So certainly if you've got something around this degree point, this may be a significant time for you. And you can always take days on either side of it too, right? Now, the other thing is that this 12 degree mark is pretty close to a star called Acubens. And Acubens has sort of a combination of energies that different folks have ascribed to it. But basically, I got out of it this whole word of perseverance. So I thought associated with this Venus going direct was some perseverance as well. And I just thought that settled nicely for me with regards to Venus going direct on this day. I also wanted to mention too that it's nice to hear other astrologers mentioning yods. You don't hear it that often, but I think I was the first one to mention it in January in my Venus retrograde in Leo video. The yod that was appearing basically around that 28 degree mark of Leo when Venus went retrograde. So anyway, a shout out to myself, I guess. Okay, so we've got Venus goes direct at the beginning, the first week of September. Now, next we have the new moon in Virgo. And I've just got to say, I really like this new moon. Now, I know there's some things going on with regards to Mercury being retrograde at this time. Mercury will be going retrograde at this new moon in Virgo. The new moon will be at 6:39 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it will be at 21 Virgo, 58 minutes. And I wanted to put a shout out to my significant other, as well as editor Noah. His birthday is exactly on this day. So happy birthday, Noah. And a big happy birthday to my brother Philip, who has his birthday the day before. So both of these guys are going to be affected in a positive way of newness in their life for the following year. That's how it works. Now, we do have the ruler of Virgo, which of course is Mercury, is still retrograde, and it will be retrograde at about 8 degrees of Virgo. And of course, this is the degree point that Mercury will, in a few days, or actually the next day, go direct. So it really is just a matter of around, not even quite 24 hours of the new moon in Virgo that Mercury will go direct. So I really take this as a positive effect, even though technically Mercury is still retrograde at the new moon. Certainly the following day, I would say, is going to be excellent for maybe getting some information to come through. When we look at Mercury in Virgo, we're really talking about, sure, messages and communications, but ones of import, ones of significance. Something that means something. It's just not a lot of data. It's data that actually has some meaning behind it. And so for those folks that maybe were struggling with some kind of data, information, messages, that sort of thing, look to this day, the 15th, the day after the new moon, as perhaps some time period of clearing up and then continual clearing up for the rest of the month. All right, other things that we have at this new moon in Virgo include the moon and the sun trining retrograde Uranus. Well, this, I thought, even though it's retrograde, I love this trine. Trine always brings in favorable energy, right? It brings in easy energy. It's not difficult to do things. What is it not difficult to do? To change something, to do something new, right? Uranus is about change. Sure, it can be unexpected. So for those folks that were looking for a change to happen, this may be ushered in at this new moon. The other thing I thought as well was that because the moon and the sun are directly affected together, this could be also a more emotional, right? Emotional change at this time too, as well as perhaps a physical change, because the moon and the sun stand for different things, but they're together here at this trine. So I really like this idea of change for newness in our lives. Now, the other thing that Virgo represents, besides data and things like that, that is important, it also stands for our health, right? Our physical health, our mental health. So this could also be something where newness suddenly comes in and we can see this positive change in our life. It also has to do with service. So if there's any connection here with regards to service, say a job that you are applying for that has to do with service, this could unexpectedly usher that in for you too. Now we will have Venus squaring Jupiter. And as I've mentioned in other videos, it's really hard to get a bad aspect when we have Jupiter in the mix. So I don't see this square as anything really, really bad. It can bring in, for some folks, a sort of passive way of thinking or being on this day of the new moon. But it can also be, a time period where we can experience love. I mean, Venus and Jupiter together are lovely, lovely energies. And even though it's a square, that's okay. It could be that, you don't do anything to attract in. That's Venus. This expression of love, someone expresses their love to you on this day. That could happen with this as well. But generally speaking, it would be really people just being a little more passive and not taking any direct action with regards to that square effect, right? Okay, so we also have this month, we have the autumn or fall equinox. And that on Pacific Daylight Time is going to be on the 22nd of September this year. And that's when the sun ingresses or goes into Libra at 0 degrees and 0 minutes. That's at 11:49 p.m. Pacific time. So certainly for those on the East Coast, it would be the next day, the 23rd. And I put the chart up here for you to look at and see if anything maybe stands out for you with regards to your own chart. Because if it does, then that could be a time period. It's approximately a time period of about 3 months where you may have some kind of interesting activations of some sort to do with the autumn or fall equinox. So when we look at the next lunation, it is the full moon in Aries. So we're not talking about an eclipse here yet, although we do have the north nodes in Aries. It is on the 29th of September at 2:58 Pacific Daylight Time, and it's at 6 degrees of Aries exactly and 0 minutes. Now, I just wanted you to note, for those folks that like to plan ahead, like me, we are going to have an eclipse very close to this degree. That's also a full moon, but it's a full moon eclipse. It will be at 5 degrees of Libra. And the reason I say that it's close, even though this one is in Aries, this full moon, and the eclipse is in Libra, full moons put the moon in one place and then the sun in the other, or vice versa, right? So on the 25th of March, 2024, we will have the sun that's going to be in the same degree as this full moon in Aries at 6 degrees on the 29th of September. So what does that mean? It means that there's kind of two lots of culminations here. And depending what houses you're looking at. So look, first of all, to the house that Aries falls in, especially the degree of 6 degrees Aries. And then look to the opposite house and see what's there. What house is that? And so pay attention to both those houses, because both those houses are up for some kind of culmination, some kind of endings, or a very big illumination, just like a full moon becomes so bright right in the sky. All right, just a little heads up. I'll still, I will cover that eclipse in March for sure. Now, also at this full moon, what else do we have happening here? Well, we have Mars, which is the rulers of Aries, is in its detriment because then it's in the opposite sign, 21 degrees of Libra. But it is conjunct the south nodes. In turn, that Mars is also sextile to Venus. Now, this setup says to me, especially when we talk about Mars, the ruler of the moon, conjunct the transiting south nodes, it really kind of puts an emphasis on letting things go, right? A lot of times we talk about the south nodes as where we need to let go of something. And so I really saw this full moon as a letting go of some things as well. So again, look to where you have Aries and where you've got Libra. It's those two places that are going to be affected. But because we've got this sextile to Venus, Venus puts a little sweetness in there. Venus makes things a little nicer. So I would say for those folks that maybe, let's just say you want to end a relationship or end a friendship for that matter, this Venus being here by sextile gives you the opportunity to make things nice, to make it easier, to make it sweeter, right? And it does bring in something favorable potentially with regards to love, because Venus and Mars together, right, are the celestial lovers. And Venus, of course, is still in Leo. Leo rules things like true love and new love. So even though this is a full moon, that element can be brought in. And I'm thinking some folks, not everybody, but some folks will have decided probably during the whole Venus retrograde period to let go either of a relationship or let go of a way of doing that relationship and making a concrete change, like, those signposts of I'm now going this way. Or, like I said, letting go of a relationship or maybe a friendship at this time. But then this full moon can actually usher in an opportunity for a new relationship to come in or a new friendship. Now, it can also indicate money, but more strongly because, we've got Mars in Libra and Libra rules relationships. I have a more focus, I would say, on relationships, but it could bring in opportunities to make money too for some folks. Maybe make money in the entertainment industry, right? Because that is, of course, in many respects, Leo, right? Getting on the stage. Or creative projects could come in also under this as well. Let me see what else. Yeah, I think that kind of covers what I wanted to cover. Mercury is going to be direct at this point. And it will be trining Uranus. So I saw this as very favorable too. And I didn't mention that Mercury does go direct on the 15th of September. Well, actually, I did mention it, so that's okay. I've already mentioned that. What I'd like to do, though, is talk about this whole Mercury now direct. So that's positive messages, messages flowing freely, our thoughts working better. Widely trining Uranus says some kind of excitement here with regards to, if it's an inner thing, it's our inner thoughts become excited and sort of more motivated to do things, to change things. You can maybe get these thoughts about, hey, I can see how I can make these changes now in whatever area of your life. This can also bring in just straight positive change, right? Just generally speaking. So for those folks that were maybe affected by this whole Mercury retrograde, now that we've got it direct at this full moon, this could be a positive time of favorable change that comes unexpectedly And maybe it's unexpectedly in our thoughts. We get a little bit of an aha or an enlightenment of some sort, or we get a message out of the blue coming through that is really positive because it facilitates this change that we want to make. And in Aries, we're talking about a change. We're talking now because we've got the influence here of the full moon, which is in Aries, to be independent, right? Okay. The other thing that we've got at this full moon is a yod again. And the yod at its base has Uranus at 22 of Taurus. And then we've got the Neptune at 25 degrees of Pisces. And it is pointing to the south node at 24 degrees of Libra. Wow. I thought this is like a real message in the sky that says, you know, be inspired to let go of things that you need to let go of. Now, when we talk about Libra, which is what this whole yod is pointing to, and it being the south nodes, it's like the path we've been taking with regards to relationships, with regards to friendships, our social, the way we act socially, that type of thing, diplomatic type stuff. It says to me with this yod that there's an opportunity here to let go of the way you were doing those. Now with Neptune, it's kind of like a philosophy. So it might be tied in here with a philosophy that we need to think outside the box. We need to make change. And that's the element of Uranus here. Okay, I hope that helps you. The other thing I wanted to mention about September 2023 as an overall energy is that Pluto moves to 27 degrees of Capricorn, and it stays there all of October at that degree as well, but it will be retrograde. So this is more inward transformation. So I saw this as a positive thing in the sense of Pluto's all about, you know, transforming ourselves. It's about seeing the truth. I think as an inward thing with the retrograde, I really felt that Pluto was extending its transformational energy to help us make the changes that we need, especially as we come into that full moon at the end of September. But remember, Pluto also helps us see the truth. Whether we want to see it or not, of course, is a different matter. Okay, so when we look at October, as I mentioned, Pluto will be going direct at 27 degrees of Capricorn at this time. There will be a new moon at 21 degrees of Libra. And we've got the last full moon eclipse at 5 degrees of Taurus. That was in that whole axis of Taurus and Scorpio. And that's at 5 degrees. We also will have Mars in Libra as well. So kind of a big activation of all Libra type stuff. And of course, remember, this is where the south nodes are by transit at this time. I wanted to mention that when I reach 10,000 subscribers, which will hopefully be soon, I've decided I will do my first live video. So what do you need to do as a viewer or subscriber? You definitely need to be subscribed to my channel to get notification of this, but you also have to hit that bell. By hitting the bell as well as subscribing, it sends you all the updates and notifications, including the live YouTube that I will be doing when I reach that 10,000 mark. But I will do my best to reach out to people and let people know. But that is what I've decided to do for my viewers and my clients when I reach that 10K subscriber. If you see the 10,000 mark come up on my subscribers, you know that I will shortly be doing a live video with everyone. I haven't decided what the actual subject's going to be. Obviously, it's going to be astrology, but I might just leave it wide open with regards to people reading their charts, because it seems to me that's the most difficult thing for a lot of people. And so I think that's probably what I'll focus on, something to do with reading your chart and how to more easily read your chart as an individual without relying on people like me. All right, folks, let's move on now to the individual signs and ascendants. Okay, Virgo. So this new moon obviously is in your sign. So happy new year to all my Virgo subscribers, viewers, and my clients. This is a fabulous new moon. And certainly if you've got something around the 21 degree of Virgo, your sun or your ascendant, this is a whole new year for you, right? That's the effect of having a new moon at the degree point of your own sun or your own ascendant, or conglomeration of planets. And we can leave comments about that, and I can give you more information. You also have, of course, your ruler, Mercury retrograde, is still going to be technically retrograde in your sign at this new moon. But the next day, the 15th, it goes direct. So honestly, within less than 24 hours, you're going to have your ruler go direct at your new moon. And so I'm just going to throw this in and say that I think it's still really positive, that I still think at this new moon, you're going to be able to make new initiatives with regards to anything to do with your first house. So that's anything to do with you. It could be something like your thoughts, the way you communicate, information that you have coming in, information that you're collecting. So for those Virgos that literally are collecting information and data of importance, this new moon is going to really facilitate that, because with the Mercury going direct from retrograde position in less than 24 hours of the new moon, it really means that you're going to be able to take this information and get it out there, and it's going to be important information. So for those Virgos that are involved in that, I would say this new moon is going to usher in some fabulous new beginnings for you. And so look at the 14th and the 15th of September for sure, right? Mercury will go direct, Virgo, at 8 degrees on the 15th. So if you do have something around the 8 degree mark, say for instance, my friend Noah, he has his Mars in his chart there. So what does this say? Well, this says that Mercury going direct on his Mars says that he is going to have some important action that he has to take with regards to data or information or messages that he has to get out around that new moon. And so that's the effect of the direct motion of Mercury if you've got something around the 8 degree mark. Now, when we look at the full moon in Aries, Virgo, that's in your 8th house. And so I always look at the 8th house as a money house, just like the 2nd house can be a money house. And for me, I think this is going to be to do with shared resources. There's going to be it's a culmination, but it's also a start because it's in Aries. Aries is the first, in the natural zodiac, it's the first sign. So it means to me there's some kind of new initiative, even though there's an ending, there's a new initiative with regards to money. And in particular, money that you get either from other people that you share with other people, could be checking accounts, but it could also be your investments. Maybe you're going to be able to take some new initiative with regards to your investments by ending something. For others, they may be retiring at this time, and you decide that you want to access those funds now. And at this full moon in the 8th house at the end of the month, you decide that you're going to start collecting on some of those investments or 401ks or pensions that you have. But I would say, because a full moon does illuminate things, Virgo, as it's just a general thing, I would say, please just take a look at all your investments, all the resources that you share with other people, and make sure that they're up to snuff. Maybe you're going to decide they're not up to snuff, and that maybe the financial advisor that you are using, you don't want to use, and that you want to take an independent way of dealing with your finances. So you let your financial advisor go, and an Aries thing is independently decide to do your own investing with your investments. For other folks, it might be that you end some kind of psychological thing, and this could be literally something like therapy. For some Virgos, you may be in some kind of therapy of some sort, and you decide that you've reached a point of independence, that's the Aries part of it, where you're going to go on your own now, that you've gotten what you need from it, and that you need to end it. And that's what you decide to do. The other thing that the 8th house represents, and because this is a full moon, some secrets could come to light for you, either your secrets or somebody else's secrets. That's another effect of the 8th house too. But I think generally speaking, Virgo, I see this whole influence of the full moon to do with your investments. So just take a careful look at things and make sure everything's in order, because you do like things in order, Virgo. All right. Take care, Virgo. So for Libra, this new moon time is going to be in your 12th house. So when we look at the 12th house, we're really looking at, I would say, because this is a new moon, Libra, it's a time when you could really reflect on, what do I need to clean up in my life? What's holding me back? Maybe some habits that I've had, or some psychological stuff that you've been working on. You now get this new start. For others, it could literally be a new start to do with some hidden places. So hidden places include things like hospitals, ashrams, government offices, prisons, or anything behind the scenes. So there might be some new starts for some Librans with regards to what? Something to do with what Virgo represents. And Virgo represents service. It represents our health, our mental health, as well as our physical health. And it also represents information that is of use. So I'm thinking there may be some Librans that are working behind the scenes, maybe on a project to collect data, and you're working on this new project to get the data in line with what you need to get to be able to put it out to the public, or put it out to a more visible source. And right now at this new moon, you've been tasked with working behind the scenes to get this data together, right? Yeah. So we also have a full moon here in Aries, and that's going to be, Libra, in your opposite sign of. So the full moon in Aries is going to bring to light for most Librans something to do with your partner. Now, this could be a business partner or a marriage partner. More than likely a marriage partner. Why? Because Libra does represent marriage and that type of relationship. But it could be a business partnership. It could even be clients as well. And, you know, what's interesting to me is that yod that I spoke about in the introduction is pointing to 24 degrees of Libra. So for those Librans that might have something around that 25-degree mark, right, this may be an important time to let go of something with regards to that 7th house. So those are all those things that I mentioned: business partnerships, marriage partnerships, clients. Let go of either a way of doing it or let go of it. There may be a decision that you come to at that Aries full moon that you decide to let it go. Or it could be that, say, a business partner says, you know what, I'm retiring now, Libra, and I am coming out of this partnership with you. I've decided that that's what I want to do. So that message comes through to you now that Mercury will be direct, right, at this time of the full moon, towards the end of September. Take care, Libra. All right, Scorpio. So Scorpio, this new moon in Virgo forms a nice sextile with your sign. And we are looking at the 11th house. The 11th house is a fabulous house. Generally speaking, we look at the 11th house where you're going to have some nice new opportunities to form new friendships, to join new groups, maybe even to get an opportunity to develop some of your hopes and wishes. And for those Scorpios that have their own business, this could be a new source of income coming in for you, because that's also the 11th house too. And of course, Mercury goes direct also in this house too. That's going to be on the 15th of September. And so if you're looking for, I guess, some clear up with regards to maybe it's some miscommunications with your friends or the groups that you've been with, look really towards the middle of September as getting that information or messages regarding friends and groups to be cleared up at this time. Or maybe for some Scorpios, you've been putting paperwork in to join a group that you've got to qualify for. Look really to the middle and the latter half of September to get approved for that. Now, when we look at the full moon in Aries, that full moon in Aries, Scorpio, is going to be in your 6th house. And so this has some kind of illumination with regards to a couple things. It could be some change up in your day-to-day job. And if you're retired or you're not working, this could be to do with whatever daily activities you get involved with are coming up for some illumination, maybe some new look at what you're doing here, maybe some ending. There may be some Scorpios that decide they want to end a job, or maybe you will end the way you're doing a job, or end a job within an organization, and perhaps go on to something independent in the same organization. So all those things could come up. It doesn't mean you're just going to lose your job or something like that, right? There's lots of variations that could happen here. But the 6th house is also your health. So it could be that something comes to light with regards to some Scorpio's health at this time. And it could be something as simple as you resolve something to do with maybe the way you are eating, the way you're exercising, and you see some real progress, right? That's illuminated for you at the full moon. That taking this independent path, that's Aries, has resulted in you making some changes here, right? Because don't forget the North Nodes of Destiny are here, helping you with your destiny in that 6th house, right? Takes care, Scorpio. For Sagittarius, that new moon in Virgo squares your sign, and it affects your 10th house. And so this says that there may be some challenges with regards to the career that you have. It could be to do with your social standing or your reputation. It does ask you to take a new path, but that new path, let's just say it's to do with your career here, may provide you with some challenges to do it. So it may be that you say want to start this new career, even this new job, but you're required to jump through some hoops at this time. It's not all straightforward. Or that, say you're interviewing for jobs and you think you've already done the interviewing, and then they say, well, we just want you to actually meet with this director as well before we finally make decisions at this time. So it could be something as simple as that. For others, it could be that something to do with your reputation, that maybe you've got to correct your reputation here for some reason, and this could be a minor thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. They always say Google yourself and take a look to see what people are potentially seeing about you. So for some Sagittarians, maybe you should do that and see what people see when they Google you. I'm just getting that as an intuitive hit here. Take care, Sagittarius, with that square. Now, when we look at the full moon in Aries, well, that trines your sign because it's a fellow fire sign, Sagittarius. And it's your 5th house. And so this is fabulous energy for starting new creative projects, especially if there's an element of you having to do something independently, not necessarily working with others, and maybe something that requires a bit of courage. That's very Mars and Aries-like. But this is a new illumination, potentially an ending or a culmination. So there may be some Sagittarians that are wrapping up some big creative project that is going to launch you, because we've got that North Nodes here in Aries, into maybe more creative projects. Now, the 5th house is also new love, it's children, it's our own business, games of chance, and as I said, creative projects. So all of those areas could be up for some either big illumination or some culmination of some sort. But I really get this feeling of, for Sagittarius at least, that this full moon could bring the culmination or the ending of a big creative project, but it's going to launch you into even more creative projects as well. Keep me posted, Sagittarius. I'd be interested. Take care, Sagittarius. So for Capricorn, well, look, that new moon in Virgo trines your sign because you are both earth signs, right? And so that's lovely energy. Trines are always beautiful, easy energy, easy flowing energy. And of course, the Mercury retrograde also, certainly at the beginning of the month, is there for you, but then it will go direct mid-month. And that's all affecting your ninth house. So the ninth house is a travel house. It's also foreign people, foreign things. It can also be the law. It is higher education. And it's publishing. So all these areas could be up for some kind of new beginning. Now we could talk to, say, some Capricorns have been diligently writing away on some project. And you get this opportunity at this new moon to actually publish. Because don't forget, we've got that big influence of Uranus at the new moon, right? The moon and the sun trine Uranus. So it might be some unexpected turnaround that happens with regards to getting something published that's near and dear to your heart, Capricorn. But it could be too, for those folks that are waiting for approval for admission into higher education, that you get the approval at this time, unexpectedly out of the blue. Congratulations if that's the case. For those wrapping up, say, a legal matter of some sort, because Virgo rules essential facts and information. Maybe the information comes unexpectedly in for you to help facilitate a new beginning now with regards to some kind of legal matter that's very favorable for you. But travel could be, unexpected travel could come up for some Capricorns, and it's very pleasant at this time. Now, when we look at the full moon in Aries, Capricorn, it squares your sign, and it squares your fourth house. So this means that there's going to be some challenges with regards to anything in the fourth house. So the fourth house rules your home, your childhood home, your mother, and by extension, your family, and also your habits. So it's all these things that there may be some challenge of some sort. Now, because it's in Aries, we're talking about really independence. Really, that's really like Aries, being courageous, going your own way, making a new path for yourself, pioneering something. And I guess I could translate that down into maybe you want to buy your own home. Maybe you want to move into your own digs, that sort of thing. And there's something that's holding you back. Maybe something to do with your family or your mother. Maybe you've got to tie some things up there before you can actually take that independent step. It doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means you've got to think outside the box. Work with others, if that's your family or your mother, to sort of make this happen where, you can do what you want. But there's going to be some illumination here or some ending. Now, for some folks, some Capricorns, it may literally be an ending, that you sell your home, right? Or that you agree with your family you're going to go on your own now, and that decision is made at this point. All right, take care, Capricorn. So for Aquarius, this new moon that is in Virgo is in your 8th house. And of course, so is the Mercury retrograde and then the Mercury going direct. And so the 8th house for you, I would say this could be a new start with regards to anything to do with joint finances. Maybe you're going to take on some new initiative with regards to how you share your joint finances, maybe with your partnerships. It can also say that new information comes in with regards to any investments. So maybe pay attention, Virgo, to anything that might come in, say if you've got a financial advisor, or you receive information about new investments that you can make, or you just get information, say, about your 401k that you've got to take some new action on. So just pay attention to, I would say, messages and information of importance, because that really talks to, I guess, the Virgo thing in your 8th house, this new moon as well. For others, it could just be a whole brand new way of seeing things from a psychological standpoint, that maybe you've been diligently working in some therapy, or you've just been diligently working on trying to change the inner part of yourselves, and you see this breakthrough, right? Because remember, that new moon has that lovely trine with Uranus as well. So for some folks, you're going to have that coming through. And it's a whole new start. Look to the Mercury going direct around the 15th and beyond to some, real clear understanding and clear thoughts coming in for you. That's about the only thing I would say about that new moon. Sort of as a caution, I guess. All right. So when we look at the full moon in Aries, so the full moon in Aries sextiles your sign Aquarius, and it does so with the third house. And so it's interesting because, we just talked about the Mercury retrograde, but that third house is actually ruled by Mercury. And so it's all to do with communications. So it seems to me, Aquarius, that this month of September may have a lot to do with how you think, how you communicate, and in turn, messages and information that come in for you. Okay? And I would take the latter half of the month as getting the right information coming through for you, or you delivering the right information by you. It also speaks to maybe you making some announcements. Maybe you make a decision that you're going to start communicating a different way. And maybe that different way is you're going to be communicating independently, maybe in your job. You've been told you're no longer going to be part of this group. And the group being, the mouthpiece, you're going to be the mouthpiece, Aquarius, where you start to speak independently on your own here with that full moon. So something ends in that way. For others, the third house also represents short journeys. So there may be some Aquarius that have been doing a lot of journeys, short journeys. They may be all around the state or your county or the cities or towns that you live in. And that you get the opportunity, that's the sextile here, to stop doing that. And you can take it or not. It may also give an opportunity here for something to do with your siblings and neighbors, because that's also covered by this third house, right? And so you may have to pay attention to those two areas as well. But it's a sextile, so there may be just some opportunities. Maybe some opportunities come to light to communicate more with your neighbors and or your siblings. Nothing wrong with that, right? But it's a sextile here with that full moon at the end of the month. So that's favorable opportunities for you, Aquarius. I mentioned last month about Pluto in your sign, of course. Pluto is not in your sign this month, but you can look forward to, and maybe already some Aquarians are feeling this lovely effect from Pluto going into your sign shortly, more like 2024, right? All right, take care, Aquarius. So for Pisces, this new moon in Virgo and also the Mercury going retrograde and then direct is in your opposite sign. And so this puts a focus on some real newness with regards to your partnerships, whether that's a marriage partnership or a business partnership or even clients. And so there may be some new start that your partner is going to share with you at this time. And it might be unexpected because remember that new moon and the sun, which are together at a new moon, are going to be favorably trining Uranus. So this may be unexpected information comes to light from your partners, or clients. And I think this should be very favorable because maybe it's going to start this new beginning for you both. And if it's a business partnership, maybe this is the time where some Pisces decide to actually start a new business partnership and they put together the elements there. And it all comes together in this wonderful way. Now, when we look at the full moon in Aries, that's in your second house, Pisces. And so this is the income that you earn. It's the values that you have, including the values of yourself. So this could be just some big illumination with regards to maybe some folks feel they're not earning enough money. And you have to do some kind of communication because, of course, with the full moon, it's at the end of September. We've got Mercury direct and we've got Venus direct. Venus can be the money. Mercury can be the communications, even contracts. And so we see here at the end of the month, you may be entering into some, I would say, fruitful communications with regards to the money that you earn, maybe even a new job that brings in this new source of income. But it could also, from some other folks, see an illumination of you may be taking some kind of independent path here with regards to earning money. And what's that going to look like? Well, you could decide that you don't want to work for corporate anymore and you want to have your own business. That could come in here as well. All right. Take care, Pisces. So for Aries, this new moon in Virgo, as well as the Mercury retrograde going direct, is in your sixth house. So really this speaks to what? A couple things. For those that are working, this is your day-to-day job. So there's some new beginning there. For those that don't work or are retired, this is just some new start with regards to the habits that you have or the day-to-day things that you do. And because we've got this favorable trine with Uranus, there may be some unexpected opportunities that come in for you. Now, generally speaking, this is going to be new opportunities for some Aries for a new job, for a new way of actually doing their health, whether it's their mental health or their physical health. And with Mercury going direct mid-month, I would say you may get some very good news, maybe some help with regards to somebody coming in, giving you information that can help facilitate positive new starts in this area of your life. For others, it could be something as pleasant as some Aries actually deciding to get a small animal of some sort, because the 6th house can also rule that too. It's also the house of service, the 6th house. So it could have a combination of some folks where they combine a new job that has a service element associated with that new job. But this could possibly come in all unexpectedly with that favorable trine at this new moon with Uranus. When we look at the full moon in Aries, well, of course, Aries, this is your first house. So there's some kind of big illumination happening at this time. Now, don't forget you have the north nodes here too, transiting north nodes, and you have Chiron here as well. And so all this is also facilitating healthier things in your life, healing, that type of thing. And healing could be all part of you healing your inner side of yourself. All right, so for Aries, that full moon in Aries is in your first house. And so this speaks to all new sort of beginnings in some respects, because it's your first house, beginnings and endings, because you've also got the north nodes there too, right? And so I would say that for some Aries, they're going to be ending something with regards to something in their life. The first house is every aspect of you. It's the things inside you. It's the things around you, outside you. And because the north nodes are here, I really see this as an ending's going to provide a new beginning for you with regards to your destiny path, that you need to let go of a way of doing things and go forward. You're going to be having eclipses, new moon eclipses, mostly in your sign, Aries, over a year. And I'll cover those, of course, as we have them happen. All right. Take care, Aries. All right. For Taurus. So for Taurus, wow, this is lovely. This new moon in Virgo is in a fellow earth sign like you, Taurus, and it trines you and it aspects your 5th house. I love the 5th house. And so Taurus, the areas of life we're talking about here are new love potentially coming in for you, a pregnancy for some. Children are favorably influenced at this time. Creative projects take off. You unexpectedly get something coming in that's favorable in one or more of these areas, because that sun and moon trine Uranus. Uranus is all about unexpected things. The trine is about favorable things coming in. So really do leverage this, Taurus. You could have something as simple as this, a fabulous, unexpected creative project comes in for you out of the blue that you absolutely love, right? Now, when we look at the full moon, Taurus, for you, this, of course, is in your 12th house. And when we look at the 12th house, we're really looking at the hidden house. And when we talk about hidden things, we're talking about things sort of behind the scenes and hidden places like government offices and ashrams. They can also be things like hospitals, that sort of thing. But I'm thinking that perhaps what you could be doing is working independently behind the scenes, and that's an important thing for you to do right now. For others, it could be that you've been taking a rest of some sort or working independently, and you're now looking at this behind-the-scenes work that is illuminated and might be ready to come out into full view. And that full view would probably be at the next new moon. All right, take care, Taurus. All right, for Gemini. So Gemini, that new moon in Virgo, as well as the Mercury retrograde and direct in Virgo, squares your sign, and it involves the fourth house. And so the fourth house really represents things like your home. It represents your mother, and by extension, your family. It also represents your habits. So this is a new start for you here, Gemini, and I would say that there may be a new start. Maybe you've moved into a new home, or you've rented in a new apartment. That type of thing could be up for you. But it's a square, so it means that there has to be some adjustments of some sort, and it may involve the family or your mother, where you have to make some adjustments to get this new start happening. It doesn't mean it won't happen, and certainly once Mercury goes direct mid-month, Gemini, I would say if there's been any miscommunications or misunderstandings, they will be cleared up from like the 15th of September onwards, because Mercury will be direct at that time. So just look at the square as, you're going to have some challenges, and that you just have to work with them and think outside the box. When we look at that full moon in Aries, well, it sextiles your sign, Gemini, and it involves the 11th house. So this says to me that there may be some opportunities here to maybe end some friendships at this time, or end some associations with some groups that you're with. But it's a sextile, so it gives you opportunities here, right? Now, the other thing is that whole area of the 11th house is your hopes and wishes. So it might be for some Gemini that you decide to have an opportunity to reflect on what your hopes and wishes have been up to now, and maybe you decide to change some of them at this time. For those folks that have their own business, this could be an opportunity to maybe end some source of income that you've got coming in, and maybe get some new ones coming in for you if you've got your own business. Because the 11th house can represent the money that comes in from your own business. But it has you being independent some way with regards to that 11th house. For others, it might just be that, some folks do leave your life that are friends. But it's done in a nice, easy way. The sextiles are not difficult things, right? And it's for your benefit in the end. Or maybe some associations with these groups, and because the group dissolves for some reason, but it's favorable for you. All right, take care, Gemini. So for Cancer, this new moon forms a sextile with your sign, and involves the 3rd house. So I would say that this is a new opportunity for you, Cancer, to communicate better, to new opportunity maybe to take a lot of short trips. Maybe your job is now asking you to take some short trips, and this comes in as an unexpected message of some sort. So I would say in particular, messages and information, Cancer, throughout the whole month may be particularly important for you, especially with regards to you making some new starts here. For others, the 3rd house is writing. It's also like just some of those easy courses that we do in education, like certificates, that type of thing that you would do in the 3rd house in terms of education. So you may just get some opportunities unexpectedly to do something like that. You may get some unexpected opportunities to literally speak, to be a speaker somewhere as well. Unexpected opportunities may come through to, communicate more with your siblings or the neighbors around you. And this all comes in as a positive type of energy. And maybe that Uranus, trining the new moon at this time, brings some enlightenment or information your way that you didn't know about, anything to do with that 3rd house. So that's a positive thing for you, that new moon, Cancer. When we look at the full moon, though, that forms a square to you. And it squares your 10th house. So this sets up a dynamic because it's Aries. You may want to be independent. You may not want to work for corporate, or you may want to work for corporate, but you want to work independently, and something's stopping you. There's a challenge there where can't quite do that. And for some, it might be that you've got to take further education or brush up some skills, or maybe take a certificate course of some sort to overcome the challenge in the career. This can also be your reputation and your social standing as well. So there may be something there that comes up that's a challenge for you. Maybe you read something about you that isn't very pleasant, and that is a challenge for you to correct that, right? I've mentioned it before, but maybe it would be worth Googling yourself Cancer and seeing what comes up for other people when they do that, and maybe just a course correction of some sort with regards to your reputation has to be inserted here. Yeah. But, I always look at squares as thinking outside the box. So Cancer, think outside the box, think independently, and know that things can change as long as you put some effort into it. That's what squares are as well. It doesn't mean it won't happen. Take care, Cancer. All right, so for Leo, this new moon in Virgo is in your second house. So this says to me there's going to be some new sources of income potentially coming in for you, and it'll come in unexpectedly, right? Because that moon and sun together will trine Uranus favorably, so this is unexpected. Or for other folks, something might be unexpectedly illuminated for you with regards to the money that you earn. And I'm just thinking, I'm getting this intuitive thing that for some Leos, maybe some money of your income money has been leaking out, and you get an illumination of what's happening there, and you're able to correct it and put some new energy into that. Now, Mercury is involved here, right? So I would say Mercury going direct from the 15th of September onwards will facilitate this information being corrected here, right? Potentially in the second house. But it could just mean that some folks get an opportunity unexpectedly to earn more money. Not a bad thing to happen, right? It can also have, for other folks, an unexpected opportunity to acquire more possessions. That's also the second house too. And another thing that could happen is some Leos may be unexpectedly shown how much value people have of them. And that would be to do with the income that you earn. That translates into the job that you do. When we look at the full moon, that's in Aries, well, that's a fellow fire sign, Leo. So it trines your sign. And I would say that that's beautiful, beautiful energy beaming into your ninth house. So the ninth house is meaning in life. It's the law. It's travel. It's foreign people, foreign things. It's publishing as well. And so all these things could come up to final conclusion. For some Leos, maybe you've been diligently writing away and you now get this opportunity to finally publish and publish your works. For others, it might be an opportunity where you're coming back from travel, maybe even travel overseas. For others, you may decide to disengage for some connection with foreign people or foreign things and decide you want to go independently. That's that whole Aries things, right? For others, hey, you just may end some kind of legal action, favorably, by the way, Leo, because that is a trine. So for some Leos, look to, I would say, certainly this full moon is at the end of the month, but you should get some indication once that Mercury goes direct. Even though it's in your second house, Mercury going direct in Virgo, look to some favorable communications if you are in some kind of legal situation that then comes to a culmination and end favorably for you, Leo, towards the end of the month at that full moon in Aries. And of course, Leo, you have Venus going direct at this time. Venus is still in your sign, though, right the way through that first week of October. All right, take care, Leo. All right, everybody. As always, I would love to do your chart. I leave all my contact details below here. Please feel free to reach out to me. I love hearing from everybody. Leave comments. I will always get back to you. Please take good care of yourself. And I look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.